Hey, welcome guys to the weekly. And with us this week, we have our usual set of hosts, except one who will be joining us, of course, at some point. Starting off is Mr. Juan Bagnell at Pocket Now, who is on a mobile device. So all we can see is Optimus Prime.
Yep, I'm in locations undisclosed. Now I'm still actually in my crib in Southern California, but I'm on baby duty, so I need to be mobile.
Yep, so there we have it. And of course, Mr. Sam, aka Black Iron Man. How's it going, man? All right, and of course, Mr. Warren Bowman from VW1.com.
All right, thumbs up. Let's do this. Sam is on time.
Yeah.
And you were late.
Are we going to try to make this into when Sam was on time stuff? Because if we tally it, Warren, you show up later than me.
Okay.
Actually, I don't. But
actually,
you know what?
yes, you do. So let's drop that for a second.
How about this? We will run it for 2 months. Juan and I will tally it because we're always here.
Hell no, Juan wasn't even here last week. Now, he's like the latest comer. He came a week late.
Sam, at least he said he was not going to be here. There's a difference. There's a difference. But anyway, before we get started, just a couple of things to note. As you guys know, in the past, we've had the monthly, weekly giveaway, which has the awkward naming, of course.
Yeah, it's the best worst title for a giveaway ever.
Yes, but it will be coming back, and we're going to change it of sorts. We're going to be looking at our fans and those people who actually watch the weekly and comment on the weekly. So this is targeted to you guys who actually watch us every week. More details will come. Most likely we'll start next month. So just stay tuned, and we'll give you guys details once that comes around, just to let you guys know. So let's jump in and start off with the first uselessness of the week. I mean, I think that to Juan's point, because we were talking earlier, there are a bunch of uselessness this week. But
yeah,
we'll start off with
even for things that went well, this entire week has been sort of a week of uselessnesses, even for things that were done correctly.
Yeah, but I'll start off with the most glaring thing. So the iPhone 7 was announced, and if you want to listen to music and, of course, charge your device, you must spend approximately $49 maximum through Apple or $40 through Belkin to charge your phone and listen to music at the same time. And by the way, here's the caveat. If you spend $49, you will not have to use regular headphones because the Apple port has a 3.5 and a Lightning port at the same time. So can somebody explain to me the benefits? Because I put this video
Not it. I'm not it.
I put this video up, and I'm sorry, I'm going to state this. I've had dumb people commenting, and I had one dumb idiot telling me he was going to unsubscribe. So I'm telling you now, leave. I don't care, because you are very, very foolish. You don't understand anything. Just throwing it out there. I don't diss fans, but I'm sorry. Your lack of comprehension has passed me by.
Well, I mean, there's a point of like engaging in a conversation, and then there's the point of like being obnoxious and refusing to listen to someone else's argument. And at that point, you've got to like cut bait and run.
Yeah.
Why are you guys so surprised? It's the fanboy discussion. Anytime the fanboy discussion comes over, people act silly. It's not surprising. This has been going on for like decades. Actually, about a decade.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
you mentioned Android, and all the Apple fanboys goes, "It sucks." You mentioned Apple, and all the Android fanboys go, "Oh, they steal everything from Android." It's just the same conversation everyone always has.
Well, I mean, because Apple had the courage, right? The courage, that strong courage.
Well, okay, so let's start this conversation off just with some facts. And one of the biggest myths that I feel we need to dispel, and it's one that even some of the editors at Pocket Now are sort of falling for, is it doesn't matter what port you use to send out an audio signal. That port does not dictate audio quality. You can still have an extremely high quality audio experience over a jack that was invented in the late 1800s. You know, like this is not, you know, Apple doing something that's going to benefit consumers with a higher quality audio signal. It's just moving parts around where some phones and some headphones will have better DACs and amps than others. But if you see this audio jack on the bottom of your phone, as long as good audio hardware is driving it, it doesn't matter. It could be a 3.5 millimeter, it could be a pop port, it could be a 2.5 millimeter. You could put a 1/4-inch jack on the back of that phone, RCA cables, XLR. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just only matters what drives the port behind the port. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah,
you know,
but where this becomes an issue is the idea of DRM and the possibility that since this is now a software-driven solution by Apple, that the possibility of putting DRM on content grows exponentially rather than having a 3.5 millimeter jack that's not tied down with all the DRM.
So Sam, I've heard the DRM argument a number of times. I'll be curious to see how and if that is actually implemented. This is one that I'm going to hold off on hammering Apple for until we see some evidence that that's actually enacted, because we can already point to iOS. Hold on. We can already point to iOS as being the most restrictive platform already. You know, trying to get audio files onto and off of an iPhone can be significantly more difficult than on an Android device. So I kind of feel like iOS, by its nature, is already a closed ecosystem for that type of file mobility. What I'm more concerned about this move is that it also stands in the way of manufacturers. It eventually might stand in the way of manufacturers who are using the 3.5 millimeter jack for other purposes and didn't want to have to pay a Lightning connector licensing fee. So stuff like credit card readers that go over the headphone jack.
yeah, Square.
Well, if there's no headphone jack, what are you going to do?
Sorry.
So I get your DRM argument saying that iPhones were pretty restricted, but this restriction does not come up because of Apple's, volunteering themselves, saying, "Hey, put DRM and stuff." It comes up because the RIAA drives things like this, and the RIAA will definitely see this as an opportunity to basically tie down your content even more. So it's not an Apple question. It's how the RIAA basically has a conversation with Apple now, because the possibility is there. You open a Pandora's box, you don't get to close it.
So Sam, I don't disagree.
Gets hold of this. But no,
Sam,
I'm just saying. My point is simply, once the record industry starts putting this as a possibility in conversations, the likelihood of it happening grows exponentially.
No, so again, I don't disagree, but I feel that that's the most important point to make, is that this is a fear, uncertainty, doubt argument based on the potential for shenanigans, and we don't have any clear evidence that true shenanigans will happen. So I completely agree with you, and it's absolutely something that we need to be on the lookout for. But again, this talking point is coming up so viscerally that I really feel it's important in our interests, especially for our audiences, to say, we don't have any evidence that something is coming down the pipe which will resemble this. It's just we need to be vigilant against the potential for abuse.
Yeah.
I think that's the point. We need to be vigilant, and we need to look at things like this and question. That's definitely what the point is.
Warren, do you want to jump in? I know there's a lot of stuff. I want to go back to the audio talk itself, but I just wanted you to jump in there for a bit.
They gave no real good excuse for removing the headphone jack. They just did it to push off and make it a whole new accessory line. Notice when they made that announcement, we don't have any more headphone jack, but we have these new AirPod proprietary wireless headphones, and also this whole line of Bluetooth that are coming out as too. So they're doing all that stuff to just essentially sell something new to the customer is what they're trying to do. It's crap. They couldn't even come with a good excuse. They could have made some BS up, talked about a DAC, could have made anything, talked about power, efficiency, something. They could have made up, but they didn't bother to. They didn't even say that.
They didn't say that.
They didn't say that either. They didn't even say that.
I'm sorry, I'm just being a devil's advocate on that.
I mean, they just kind of said, because we're being revolutionary. I mean, God, you talk about buzzwords and marketing. Some intern made that one up for them to say during the press conference, because that was just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And then beyond the fact that I guess Johnny Ives and them were supposed to be these Uber hardware designers, and if they such Uber hardware designers, how do you design a phone that you can't charge and listen to at the same time wired? Please explain that.
Well, and then also, because to that point, it also was one of the last few pieces of the iPhone ecosystem which was built on a universal standard.
Yeah.
Everything else now is completely proprietary until they find a way to make the screen only viewable to people who own Apple Watches or something like that.
And the sad thing too is that this is a perfect time to throw in wireless charging for you to now make that claim that you can listen to music and charge your device, right? You could do something with that. But the matter of fact is that, like Juan stated earlier, is, when you're listening to audio off a device, it doesn't matter what connect to you. So all the people out there who say, I'm sorry, Andrew, that includes, some of that discussion we had, that says that Lightning port gives you better audio. Zilch. It's whatever is powering it. So right now, by the end of this year, the phone with the best audio will be the LG V20. I hate to say it, but yes, it's got a quad DAC in there. So, I mean,
the showdown will be, I believe, between the HTC 10 with the phenomenal amp that's in the HTC 10 versus the LG V20 with their signal processing chain.
Yeah. And you will have that, and plus the kind of headphones you use. So your Apple AirPods will be crap. Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, a little bit terrible.
The wireless ones, I don't know. They would be wireless and terrible, I guess, for $159.
Well, as far as I know, so this is what's so frustrating about the AirPods, is because actually there's some really cool tech in how they're doing individual, completely wireless, not chain earbuds. But the actual drivers don't seem to be any different than the earpods.
Yeah.
So you've got this amazing, I think it really is, incredible system for tying those to your phone, only to achieve basically the same audio experience you would have had from the wired ones, and potentially even worse, because we know that Bluetooth is not the best, highest possible quality signal that you can send audio information over. If they had said that they were Bluetooth 5, then I'd say, okay, well, maybe you've got a stronger source, but you still end up with the same crappy drivers that you had in the earpod.
Yeah. It is. It's really annoying. Just the fact that there's some people who are defending it without knowing what it is, and the other people who just don't know. I guess when you buy your iPhone and you go through that process of, especially iPhone 7, of your battery dying in no time, and then you want to listen to something, then you'd be stuck in that situation.
It's for fans of all of our various channels that I feel like those are going to be the people that are going to have those conversations with their family and friends. And this is number one, I feel the most important talking point to manage, is that it doesn't matter how you connect an audio device. It only matters what's driving the final output. Lightning will not give you better audio fidelity.
No.
You gotta just keep repeating that over and over. And I'm saying this not for the people that are actually hosting the podcast. I mean for the people listening. Like, you will be the people tasked with correcting this misinformation. And unfortunately, it's going to be us kind of keep that conversation going because Apple is not doing it.
I think what's interesting is going to be a lot of people are going to be finding out, like, oh, I want to get, they're going to start looking at Bluetooth headphones. They're going to see, oh, I want a good quality pair and how much they have to spend for it.
Exactly.
And it's usually around the $150 plus price range before you get a pretty good pair of Bluetooth
really good pair.
headphones. So it's going to be interesting in that manner when people start to look at that. Well, hopefully, maybe one thing it'll push, it'll get people to stop using wired earbuds at the damn gym, which makes no sense to me. That shit pisses me off when people start running and I need my wired headphones to run. I say, oh, just go get a pair of Bluetooth. No, I'll use the wired. You're an idiot.
Yeah,
they complain about, I don't want to carry my phone with me and all this other stuff. I said it'd be a lot easier to carry your phone. You didn't have that crappy wire between you and your head.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, I think we can acknowledge that the earpods are the most popular headphones because they come free with iPhones, and we know that there are a lot of people out there who will only engage with the phone exactly how it comes out of the box, right? Like talking to Samsung and LG engineers and listening to them describe that, like, critically few people will ever put a memory card into those phones.
Juan, you sound a little far. Could you
okay, sorry. I don't know. It's going on there.
Okay.
That time I didn't move away from the mic, so I don't know what happened.
Okay.
But listening to those engineers say, like, even when you give someone a memory card at the time of purchase with the phone, unless you put it in the phone for them, they still might not use that memory card. So that's why we know earpods are so popular, is because a significant portion of the consumer base outside of the techie sphere that we live in will never examine the situation beyond that. But earpods are going to be an interesting test of that theory, because we have to believe that there are going to be some people out there who like to switch their headphones from phone to computer. And so even if you've got this really great Apple ecosystem where everything just works, trademark, copyright, you can't move your Lightning connector earpods over to your USB-C MacBook. Like, that's not going to happen. So what are consumers going to do in the face of that?
That's true. It's not even Lightning. I forgot.
Yeah. So are we going to have a Lightning to USB-C adapter, or a Lightning to 3.5 millimeter male adapter? I mean, those kinds of things start to get really silly as solutions. And this is, again, Apple's really good at convincing people to sort of spend against their own self-interests. But this, I think, will be one of the most precious tests of this experiment, because it's no standard. The MacBook has a USB-C port. Like, if you were giving us USB-C audio accessories, you would have some sort of universal standard to interact with. Here, nothing. I mean, you've got a completely different setup for laptop, tablet, and phone now.
Yeah, definitely true. All right, so let's move on to the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus itself. We've talked about the uselessness with not being able to charge and listen to music, and also the falsehood that Lightning audio will be better. But Apple announced a brand new iPhone. They announced some cool things on that iPhone. I know we had talked about this earlier with the hangout we had during the week one, but I want to get Warren and Sam first. So Sam, starting with you. I know you didn't actually spend time listening to the press conference, but you've seen everything that Apple has stated. What do you think about it so far?
About
the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus.
I think I have the same impression I had before the announcement, which is I don't see why anyone would make a switch. I still don't see it. Did they upgrade the resolution on the screen to a point that it's now 1080p? Yes, on one of the phones. Do the dual camera basically do anything other than just giving you a larger zoom? Not really. It's what exactly is compelling about these phones, and I still don't know. So I'm not really that interested in the phone. This is actually the first Apple phone I've been like, nah, no one's gonna buy it. With the 6 and the 6 Plus, I'm like, okay, I see where people are gonna buy it. But this one, I'm kind of like, nah, I don't see where anyone's gonna buy it.
Okay, so Sam has his reservations to the negative end of the spectrum.
I think it's going to fail.
How about you, Warren? Warren, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are with the iPhone 7 is that it's another incremental upgrade that they put out and kind of patched some things that they should have had in the original phone, such as water resistance, something that they've added to, which I think will get some people to upgrade because they do like having the ability to not have to worry about their phone hitting the rain, even though most phones have some type of water resistance to them. Now that it has an official rating, it makes them feel a little bit better about it, I suppose. I see some people on the 7 Plus wanting to play around with the dual cameras a little bit. I can see some definitely people that are photogs definitely will be interested in that. Beyond realistically that, it maybe if you like jet black color, maybe
Matte black.
Or matte black, or whatever it's going to be, or you need. I think a lot of people on the 6 side will probably upgrade because of the storage increase, because that's something that a lot of people that have iPhones have an issue with. This is going to be the one. That's going to be the one thing. Now that I think about it, that's probably going to get most people to upgrade, is to get the ability to get 32 or 120 gigabytes of storage, because within the iPhone ecosystem, data isn't necessarily the most optimized thing. Apps are pretty large, photos, content, and things that you download on the device are pretty large in most cases. The average iPhone uses up their 16 gigs relatively fast.
Yeah.
And I think if they can get to 32 gigabytes, that actually will slow that down a bit for the average person. And the person that usually needs bigger storage, the 64, 128 guys, they're either already have something of large capacity or looking at jumping to double their storage already, regardless of what the phone offers. So I think there are very minimal reasons to upgrade. I don't think it's a bad phone. I think it will do some decent sales when it does come out. I think Apple might be shocked that it might not be the hottest phone on the market that gets sold.
You know, I don't think they're going to be shocked. I mean, this is the first iPhone where they're not revealing their shipping numbers.
So, and it'll be interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not talking about their first weekend shipping numbers, and they've already announced they will not be sharing that data.
I don't think they talked about it last year, did they? I don't think they talked about the 6S.
Yeah, because the 6S was tragically underperforming over the 6.
Yeah.
The 6 was the last time they made fanfare about it. Yeah, absolutely.
One thing to mention before I jump to you, Juan, is the fact that Apple doesn't cover water damage of the iPhone 7, according to their warranty statement. Just to let you know, I don't know how that plays. I know Samsung does. I'm still looking to find out what Sony does in terms of water damage coverage. Either one, Apple believes that, you know, you will never have water damage with this device, or they believe that you purposely try to damage the device, which is why they won't cover it in the first place. So,
user error.
Well,
so,
the big concession for this year's warranty is that they're reducing the price of a screen replacement. So if you have Apple Care, I think it's $30 to get your screen replaced if you smash that. But you're absolutely right; they're not doing it. I mean, like, I think they're going to be stricter about water damage.
How about they just make a better screen? For Christ's sakes, why can they not?
I mean, to be fair, that's a common criticism across the entire mobile industry.
Yeah. No, but like.
No, I agree though. But I think almost all.
When you walk around.
Kyocera with the Brigadier.
When you walk around and you see people's phones, who more often has cracked screens?
iPhone.
Yeah, but look at the number of iPhones out
Samsung tends to come in second to that because the number of Samsung devices that are out there, but it's not that.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, like, I don't disagree, but I honestly think it's more an issue just with phones getting larger. It's way more surface area. If you have little gaps and breaks for your speaker, then you're already weakening how that glass interacts on the front.
This has been going on since the 4.1.
No, but what I'm saying is that it's not unique to Apple. Is that it's
well, how come everyone else is doing a whole lot better with this? And
I think your point about that Samsung uses Samsung second because you see more Samsungs out there is actually the telling statement. Is that Apple is far and away the #1 selling model of phone is the iPhone. So far and away, you're going to see a higher number of cracked screens. I seriously doubt that the percentage of cracked screens on an iPhone is indicative. I mean, it will be significantly different than the percentage of cracked screens on an HTC.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think the winner there will probably be Motorola.
Yeah, but let's skip all that. Let's concentrate on the new features. Sorry, guys. Apple also has dual speakers now on their iPhone, so you've got stereo sound on there. They mentioned 10 new things, right? It's also got console-like graphics.
The 64 graphics chip in there.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm telling you guys. I've been telling you guys, like, if you want a game at 1080p, you know, like, you got to get an iOS device, right?
Oh,
boy. You mean the iPhone 7 Plus? Because we know that the iPhone 7 is barely 720.
Well, but the iPhone 7 is 750p, so it's even gaming at a higher resolution than like my PS3 can. So it's obviously the best.
Yes,
obviously.
and of course we know Mario.
I don't know if people can read the sarcasm when it's just the face of Optimus Prime saying.
No, I think
that
we
was
can.
Supposed to be as sarcastic as I could make it.
Yeah. No, and also again, you know, Mario is going to be an exclusive Mario Run. Nintendo is beginning to whore itself out. Ooh, I said a swear word here.
So when that happened, did you guys like? I don't know. So I tweeted about it like this was a really big deal, and everyone was like, NBD, man, it's just some stupid running game. It's like the game itself isn't what's the big deal. The big deal is that Nintendo is engaging in licensing on other devices other than Nintendo hardware. The game looks like it's going to be a whatever running Temple Run clone kind of thing with Mario, but it's a huge deal that, you know, after Pokemon, that the next property that Nintendo migrated was Mario, not you know, Metroid Not well. I mean, I guess Legend of Zelda would be the one that they would hold off.
Yeah, Zelda
keep
is
that one
such a
private.
prime. Yeah, it's such a prime
Yeah.
baby. You gotta.
But no other, like Kirby. Kirby didn't make the move to another platform.
Well,
Mario.
I'm not surprised that Mario did. Mario is the one game they whore out more than anyone else.
Well, has Mario ended up on any other hardware?
Associated with
No, Mario hasn't ended up in any hardware, but Mario has been done by other publishers. So in that sense, you've got Mario in the Olympics.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, Olympics by Sega. And things
the
like
number
that.
of Mario games that come out an ungodly amount every year. There's at least 2 to 3 Mario-based games that come out per year from Nintendo across all their platforms.
Well,
more so than they do any other of their properties. So I'm not surprised that they would use this.
On Nintendo platform, not on anyone else's.
I know it's a platform.
I think that's what's
It's the
still
licensing
that's what's
of
telling
that
and what's the big deal about this is that it's a licensing deal off of Nintendo hardware.
Yeah,
but that's what they said they were going to do. They're going to license it off. So I don't know if they're making the game.
Actually, I agree with Juan. I'm thinking they would have done Kirby or something first.
No, well,
you got to do something that everybody recognizes. Kirby's a niche character.
Yeah, Kirby is a niche, but also again, if you look at Nintendo financials and what they're struggling with, and the fact that they opened the amount during their press conference to say that Pokemon generates the money for us during their investor meeting instead of spinning it some way, so they know that they had to actually push out a character, especially at the end of the year with Mario, that will generate revenue for them. So there was no other character you had to.
And I think they have some other games that they're tentatively working on in Japan that are mobile as well too. This isn't the only one that I think is using their properties that they've been testing out.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, so pretty much the iPhone, I guess the consensus here is Apple is generally, of course, doing catch up. Some of the things we like the water resistance, is always good to have that on a smartphone. Better storage. I know somebody here in the chat mentioned that Apple is telling people to get a case for the real black just because it's so fingerprint sensitive. I'm not sure about that, but most likely.
So I ordered a matte black just to do our review, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. And also, I find it very troubling because we kind of talked about this a little bit though. Like for Apple to not be able to figure out design and color on the antenna bands for the pink and gold iPhones. Like, I think that just looks silly that black is the only color that has, matching antenna bands. In terms of the actual phone, because we talked about this a little bit more in that standalone reaction video, but I think out of all of us, I'm probably the one who's most positive on what Apple's doing this year. To me, iPhone 7 feels a lot like the move from Galaxy S6 to Galaxy S7, right? There's nothing revolutionary here. We all agree on that.
Yeah.
But so many tiny little elements have been addressed, aside from the headphone jack, which is a huge issue for the industry at large. But for the rest of the phone, so many tiny little pieces are being touched on that I feel this will be, in total, a better iPhone experience for consumers moving forward. And ultimately, that makes Apple more competitive against the phones which were released this year.
Yeah, definitely so. All right, moving on to our next topic. This is not mobile. We're going into some gaming. So, of course, the very same day at around 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Sony had its press conference where the guy who spoke had a very soothing voice. I don't know who he was, but the guy who was describing the PlayStation 4 was very calm and mellow. I just had to state that. And they announced the PlayStation 4 Slim, which will be coming out next week I think on the 15th, right? If I'm not mistaken, Warren. And and the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is AKA the PlayStation 4 Neo, which we've heard about, which will be released November 10th. Now, right now, between September 15th and November 10th, get this, Sony will release 3 gaming consoles. Let's just call it what it is. There will be the PlayStation 4 Slim on the 15th of September. There will be the PlayStation VR on October 10th. I could be wrong on the exact date, but I think it's around then. And then there will be the PlayStation 4 Pro on November 10th. So a month apart with each device. Now, the couple of questions here I want to ask is thoughts on the Slim, the Pro, also Sony's strategy with 3 consoles in a short time period. And before we get into that, actually, you know what? I'll just fire away. I'll start off with you, Sam. Thoughts on the Pro and the Slim?
Well, apparently, the Slim is really just to cover what was already done. Basically, it replaces the PS4, right?
Yeah,
so
it
it's
just
not
replaces-
even being called the Slim. It's just called the PlayStation 4.
PS4, yeah.
So that's going to replace what you already know as a PlayStation 4. So
Mind you,
it's
it's priced at
basically it's a
$299.
refresh. Yeah, it's a refresh, right? The Pro is really kind of what gets me. I don't think that with the amount of time before the end of the year, they had enough time to release 3 consoles without pushing one of them. And with the Pro, I'm thinking they're probably going to push it to next year. Now, why I think this is just simply because they're promising quite a lot. The Pro is going to be the 4K HDR device out there that's supposed to game in 4K. They're supposed to have a new controller for it. It's supposed to have all these new fan-dangled, upgraded clocks on the GPU and whatnot. And that's good and all, but I think with the time frame they have, they're better off, or they would realize they're better off, releasing something like this closer to when the Xbox releases, the Scorpio, and that gives them something to answer to the Scorpio when it finally comes out. Releasing the Pro now, to me, makes no sense, because by the time the Xbox Scorpio comes out, it becomes old news.
Well,
So it's really interesting to see.
The launch of the PS4 and Xbox One.
Juan, volume, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why it's changing. Well, you know what I think it is that because I'm quiet for so long, it then starts messing with the automatic gain. Anyway,
okay.
But don't we think that releasing early means that they're tying up entertainment dollars that Microsoft won't have access to later on? Just kind of like how we saw between the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
True. So that is a good point, except when you look at the console breakdowns. So when you look at the PlayStation Slim, the new PlayStation, right? Mm-hmm. It's a refresh. I think the only thing it has, I could be wrong, it should have HDMI 2.0, which will allow you to do 4K video streaming and 4K HDR. That's it. When you go to the Pro hits that does not hit the entertainment spot solely because it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player, which is very surprising.
Very surprising from Sony, absolutely.
Exactly, from Sony. So it now leaves it in such a weird place because, when you like you say, you want to tie up the entertainment dollars and say, okay, I want to get a new console. I want a console that does all these things. Sony's the Pro doesn't hit that much. Forget the 4K and 4K gaming, right? We know how it handles that, but from an entertainment point, you're missing one part. Now, Sony is saying that because they don't believe that, at least some of the statements coming from some officials unofficially, is that they don't believe that, physical media, especially like 4K videos, Blu-rays, will last that long.
Right. Well,
true.
We do know that Sony was super aggressive during the launch of the PlayStation 4 with some of their studio streaming solutions for 4K content. So, I mean, that makes sense, but it's also sort of pulling the plug a little too early when consumers' first experiences on this still might be physical media driven.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's the thing there. Now, they also mentioned that they will now give you 4K and HDR support across all PlayStations, including the original PlayStation 4, which is a little iffy to me because for you to do HDR, you need HDMI 2.0, and the PlayStation 4 is running HDMI 1.4. So nobody knows how they're going to achieve it. They made that announcement. Everyone asked them, and they just said it will happen. And people are like, it's physically impossible because there's a certain chipset that you need to have in there with it. So,
Warren, I'm sure that it's HDMI version 1 or version 2 that's on there, because I thought it was...
No, the original PlayStation 4 is HDMI 1.4. Doesn't matter. Way back. HDMI 2.0 only came out, I think,
around
last
the same
year.
time. Not last year.
No,
the standard basically kind of spread last year, but it's been out for a bit.
No, HDMI 1.4 came out actually with the PlayStation 4 launch, which is like 5 years ago, right? So it's not even.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not even close. It's not like there was HDMI 2.0 when the PlayStation 4 came out. So that's the thing. But Warren, thoughts?
Oh, I can get in here?
I know. I was saving you for last, man.
Okay, so their strategy is interesting here. With the PS Slim just replacing the original PS4, I think it's probably the most uninteresting sort of console they're releasing right now. It's it's essentially just a design change what they're doing with it in a small tweak. Then you have the PSVR, which is interesting that that's coming out when it's coming out. You would think they push that closer to when the PS Pro comes out, because the reality is that the VR is going to run better on the PS4 Pro, and that is the point of the PS4 Pro. The PS4 Pro exists not for 4K, not for any of that. It exists completely for PlayStation VR. They needed something that could push VR faster, and they want to be the first ones in the house, in the home, on a console with playable VR, and they want to be the front of that because they know that's the next wave of things. 4K is obviously something that is important, but I think it's going to become something that I don't want to say it's a side note, but it's not going to be as important as it's going to be when we start when we really do the VR push, especially since Nintendo's rumored to have some VR element with the NX, and we know Project Scorpio with the Xbox One is going to have that as well too. So Sony's getting in the front of that right now. They're trying to get to the Oasis. All for my Ready Player One fans, they're trying to jump the hell ahead of that and make that first for anyone else does. So that's why the PS4 Pro exists. Who cares about at the end of the day? 4K streaming is nice. They all had to do this when you have a $200 box such as Amazon.
Warren, one thing. I just need to clarify something here with someone. Link 057 says not even the 1080 can do 4K natively. You really think the 1080 can't? I don't know what kind of system you build. Okay, you can run 4K natively on a 1080. Just like a Titan X.
No, we're not going to say it's going to run very well, but it does run.
Yeah, but it also depends on what.
It should give you at least between 20 to 30 frames per second.
Yeah, it depends on what system you build to. Now, if you run two 1080s, you can run it easily, not a problem. Back to you, Warren.
Okay, so that's why the PS4 Pro exists. It's not so much about the 4K. It's just we need to match with Xbox Z, and we're happy that it's there. I guarantee you, 90% of the games that will come out for the PS4 will be locked at 1080p 60. They will absolutely push that before they'll push the 4K because that's what a lot of people like to have.
So for what I've heard, it's actually most developers have said that they can easily do 1440. So that's where I think they're going to go at.
Yeah, but it can't do 60 on the 1440, and everybody wants 60. That's the thing.
They said they can do 60 on 1440. Most developers said that is the benchmark they can easily do, which kind of matches some of the leaked documents we saw a few months ago. So we'll see. Again, it all depends on the game.
We have PCs that can barely do that right now.
A lot of this is going to depend on software optimizations as well.
Yeah,
if they optimize the software specifically for the PlayStation, I don't see a reason why it can't run at 60 frames per second. You're not going to be getting the crisp graphics of PC, but you can do that. It is possible.
I mean, if at the end of the day, what they end up doing with that is taking a 1080p asset and being able to re-render it into 1440p and be able to push that at 60, great. That's a good software trick, and you guys can get away with that, I suppose. But
no, see, but the problem is
developers are lazy.
That is the problem. But also, I think it's also down to game engines. So the guys at Polygon said it's really interesting. So Bethesda ran the engine, and Bethesda did 4K because the engine is one of the best scalable engines out there. That's the difference. That's where it all boils down to at the end of the day is what kind of assets are you using? And, Epic Games with Unreal Engine said they could do almost the same thing. So it depends on what you use.
And none of them are going to take the risk on the backlash. None of them will. They will completely roll out a 1080p 60 game on the safe side because these games cost too much damn money to be made. They will not take that risk. Especially since Sony gives you, I think you only have one option or the other. I don't think you can have both, essentially, from what the rules kind of say.
What do you mean by both? One option.
I think if you choose 1080p 60, it has to be that across every single console. But you can't have whatever. There's some rule about with the 4K, like it can't necessarily. I have to look back at what Sony kind of said with it. There's some weird ruling they have about.
So basically, all your games have to have consistency across all consoles.
Yeah, because they're saying that it's the same experience, even though that we know one console is stronger. More powerful than the other.
Like you can't make a PS4 Pro only game. That's the one thing you can't do. The game has to work on both consoles. So either they're
No,
gonna,
yeah, but
yeah.
the thing is, on the PS4 Pro, you still have the ability to play it at 4K. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Well, I think some of the
specifically.
games can forward sample if
Yeah,
forward
they do a
compatibility.
2x or 4x letterbox.
But it has to be patched for that to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm guaranteeing 1080p 60 across the board. That's what they're gonna do. It's safe. It gets them something easy and allows them to develop one game that can kind of work across everything and work on the PlayStation. It can work on the PC as well too, and I don't know, the Xbox, whatever the case may be. It just makes it easy for them. They're lazy. Just remember.
So this is the question I want to actually pose to Juan, yeah, because Juan is still on the PS3, by the way, right? And and all of us here on the other side have moved forward. So does this make you want to jump to a Pro? I mean, you don't have to get a PS4 anymore. You can. I'm just asking a very basic question because you're one of those people who is behind in terms of console generation. So
yeah, not even a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I want to see how all this shakes out. Before we do any of this, my wife and I were shopping 4K TVs because we want to.
Juan, volume, please. Sorry.
I'm on a phone.
I think Juan was saying his wife looking for 4K.
Yeah. I have no volume control. There are none.
I know.
I can turn you down, but that's it. That's all I have access to.
Okay.
No, the next major entertainment purchase for us is going to be a UHD TV, and then I want to see what kind of and mostly for streaming video, and then any other gaming experiences that I'm looking at investing in are probably going to be for the PC. I'm finally getting rid of this, GTX 970, and then moving on to something, that I can actually utilize all of the RAM that's on that card. And an actual console for the TV is a very low priority purchase for us right now.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that one because I went the same exact route. I went basically built the PC and then upgraded my monitor to a 4K monitor, so my PC is totally 4K savvy right now. And then I went for the Xbox TV. My TV is still freaking 1080p. I'm not changing that until probably next year sometime. Before I get a 4K console.
You let him know he's failing.
For me, there's no point in doing it.
Did you just hear what he just said?
I know.
I have to Stephen A. Smith you right now. What kind of balderdash are you saying here?
And that's also in light of the fact that I had to buy a laptop sooner than I expected. So I'm rocking a new Razer Blade. And again, that was sort of an unforeseen purchase, but one that needed to happen, and I'm feeling way better about plugging that into a TV and gaming off of that than I am any console. So.
Oh God, people just get a console and make your lives easier.
Yeah, I mean,
God,
but he does.
But getting a console doesn't make my life easier. If I had been on a PlayStation 4, now I'd be looking at flipping that console for another PlayStation or an Xbox or any other thing. The whole point of consoles is that they're supposed to be easier. They're not necessarily easier if I want to be able to engage with things like VR. I have a PC that's VR capable right now. I have a laptop that's almost VR capable, so that's not really easier if I'm looking at trying to stay current with console technology. I have to dump the whole console. I can't just swap in a new graphics card.
But you don't necessarily. But that's the thing. You don't necessarily have to. People don't have to stay on the tip and top of everything. Everybody acts like when this comes out, you have to purchase it right away. That's the whole reason why these companies are putting out new consoles is because they want to be on things like VR. Mm-hmm. I can do that from my laptop. I can do that from my desktop. Well, I can stream a game from my desktop to my TV, and it looks fucking rad. And that's nice, but there'll be way more people in the world eventually on VR on consoles.
Right, but we didn't ask me about my opinion about other people in the world. He asked me about my opinion for what I was going to spend my money on.
So we can safely say that Juan's not going to be getting a.
We can safely say Juan's not going to get it. I think his reasons are kind of, but that's just my opinion on
it. You know what, Warren? I totally agree with what Juan's saying, because for me, even with the 4K, even getting a console right now, if you get a 4K console, it means you have to get a 4K TV. In essence, to enjoy
Yeah, but Sam though,
But you
need to get a 4K TV though. Just saying.
No, but for me right now, I'm not getting a 4K TV until next year simply because of this. When the 4K TVs came out, like the 4K TVs wait, let me finish. The 4K TVs from last year to this year, how much they dropped?
Yeah, big time. Go to Costco. Oh my God.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Some of them dropped
there was a
$2,000.
Samsung
It within 1
UHD
year.
curved TV for under $2,000.
Yeah, but do you know why Sam is saying that? It's all bullshit. Sam wants the LG G6.
I want the G series
in his house, and that is the only reason why he wants that price to drop. So
I want the best I can get for the money. And if the G series drops by $2,000 next year, I will be plunking down $8,000 to get a TV.
All right, so I mean, no, but it is to Juan's point and also to Warren's. I think it does stand clear because one of my bases is like looking at some of my friends who were always casual gamers. I mean, you guys know Tola. Warren, Tola was a console gamer. He had all Nintendo consoles. He had an Xbox. He even bought a PS3, and then I helped him build a PC, and that was the end. He didn't want to go back because of Steam, because a lot of the games you could buy it off Steam, and he's just been upgrading and building his PC.
Well, I also think that comes into a price factor too. It's just like, Jesus Christ, you can buy so many games cheap on Steam versus what you get with console.
Exactly.
They want to charge you $60 to download the damn game.
Yeah, exactly.
$60 to download the game and the day one patch that you have to download with the two before you actually play it because they can't release it and it's an actual working game because, God, who would ever the hell do that?
But that's the thing, though. Because when you have that, if you're looking at cost benefit, right? If you can wait for Steam Summer Sale or Steam Winter Sale, now there's Steam Crate that gives you a free Steam game every month. So you're looking
at
summer
sales, man. The summer sales are evil. They're evil.
Yeah. There's things are options where a lot of people go, wow, okay, I can play Arkham, I can play all these games, that I've heard that console players are playing.
But that's also that I think if that same effect was put onto the consoles where you got a summer sale of some kind, similar in the same way. I think that would push more people to want.
That would also be a huge vote in favor.
Because I honestly
I seriously doubt that the consoles are going to engage.
Because I honestly think to kind of what Juan's saying about they're not interested. I think 90% of that honestly comes from the fact of how much these damn games cost, and because of that cost derivative to buy a gaming, to not only just buy the console, buy the games to go with it, because that's essentially why you would buy it. It becomes like this extremely large purchase because you can't necessarily look at Batman Arkham and go, oh, Arkham, it's on Steam. What is it, like $20 or $30 or something like that right now? Yeah. You go look on either on Xbox Live or PlayStation Store, any of those places, and you look at there, and it's still a $55 to $60 game, and they're trying to push a season pass down your ass about it. And it's just like, come on, and it's a downloadable game. It's not like you're going to get physical media or going to a store, but it's a middleman. That's you, the developer, and the damn gaming company. That's it.
But then also, every single entertainment dollar that I invest into my desktop also comes with the benefit of improving my ability to get work done. So that's a two-for purchase, Like, I know my workstation is significantly more expensive than buying a game console, but if I were weighing the costs of having jumped on a PlayStation 4 and then jumping onto this PlayStation 4 upgrade, that also weighs into how much money I would have spent on these different devices. Whereas this whole time, my PC has been steadily improving, getting better, getting more powerful, and allowing me to get my work done, while also allowing me to engage in very high-quality gaming.
This is why I think when what you're talking about there, and I understand like with the PS4 Pro and I1, this is why I think Microsoft's original idea of the Xbox One and going on the entertainment side was a far smarter idea that they couldn't control the narrative of, and pissy bullshit gamers got mad about. Because in the end of the day, when I'm on Xbox One, what is 90% of the time saying what I'm doing?
Watching TV.
Watching TV or streaming an app or doing something else. And I love the fact that I can do all three. I can sit there and all the streaming apps are all available on Xbox One. They're all running 4K now. My Plex works perfectly with it as well too. It supports every freaking codec possible out there, and it's got powerful enough hardware that it can take on even the most largest of streaming files with it. And when I want to decide, I could just switch and tell it to play a game and then come in and out of that as I want to. There isn't anything else that offers us that smooth of an experience outside of the PC, which still doesn't do it as smooth as the Xbox does in terms of how.
Everything you've said can be done on a smart TV with a lot more ease.
Not as well.
Yeah,
not as well.
It is done very well.
I can confirm that fact because I've tried to play. I play my Plex off of my Xbox One, and I've also played it off of my LG TV. Trust me, the formats are way better on the
LG's setup is bad. On Samsung, for me, it's actually on point.
For me, everything I do, all the formatting and all the transcoding happens on my server side. So all I'm really doing is just pushing an image.
But I don't want to have to transcode a damn thing, and I don't have to do that with the Xbox at all. I don't have to transcode a damn thing. That is true. That's the one big difference.
All right, guys. I think we spent enough time on PS4 Pro. It's a downer.
Well,
also like
one more gaming thing before we move on. Going back to Nintendo. Anybody hear that rumor that they might be going back to a cartridge for the NX?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they are. Because it makes sense. Flash media is faster than a disc. I mean, it just is.
Well, and also just I think there's something really fun about the nostalgia factor.
And it won't break as easily either.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And also, I kind of feel like DRM will probably be easier to implement.
Sorry? DRM what?
I kind of feel like DRM might be easier to implement in a flash medium than on a disc.
Disc, yeah, probably. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the third announcement this week. So we've eaten up a lot of time with the iPhone and PS4. So we'll try and make this quicker. LG announced the V20. On Tuesday, I believe. They had an event in San Francisco. I know, Juan, you got to see it at IFA, if I'm not mistaken, behind closed doors. I guess since you've seen the device, you can talk more about it because I haven't, and I will not be covering it. Just disclaimer.
I only have.
And also, it will not be going on sale in the UK. So again, this is another limited style.
So at the very beginning of this podcast, when I was saying that this is going to be a show full of bummers, LG is releasing one of, I think, the most compelling devices of the year. They're hamstringing it by releasing it in very limited regions, and even just trying to publicize the release of this phone, they've screwed up by putting it the day before the iPhone launch. Mm-hmm. So for as positive as I am on this phone, I cannot fathom LG's strategy here. If they exist as a corporation to sell products for people's money, why they are going about doing the release of one of the most interesting devices of the year, why they're putting it out there this way. I do not get it. This is completely flabbergasting to me.
I'm going to try and see if I can get Kenny to hop on because he was actually at the event for us in San Francisco, and so I wanted to see if I'll try to get him to get on.
So about the device, since you've gotten hands-on, features that you like. I mean, I already like the sound of a quad DAC in there, but just a few other things you like about it.
I mean, really, what I think the major talking point for this phone is watching LG focus this device for a particular demographic. This is not like I keep saying this is my sort of spiel on the the V20. This is not a soft around the edges all-rounder smartphone. This is going to be a monster for multimedia consumption and content creation. And that's really LG's focus here. So a lot of people are going to look at this and go, oh, but I don't need those things. And you're like, well, no shit. You don't need this phone. This phone is not for you. And that's fine. Well, it's kind of the same thing with people like complaining about how expensive the Note is. And you're like, but I don't use the S Pen. Then get a Galaxy S7 Edge and leave us alone. It's the same thing. So anyway, having played with the phone, it's everything that I liked about the G5, which was very little, has now been moved over to a platform that fixes a huge number of the issues I had with the G5. There's very little DNA left from the original V10. This is very much in keeping with the G series, but it's so much harder edged, it's more durable. There is no modular system that fails from the G5. And they are claiming that this will still be mil-spec 810G drop and shock resistant. So basically, all of the features of the V10 seem to be either here or improved, but the design is definitely still very much in keeping with the G.
Okay. I mean, for me, off just what I saw, I like the quad DAC. I'm surprised you didn't attack Samsung with the fact that it's got a removable battery. You could toss it out.
Well, yeah, that was also another curious thing too. Is it's got the removable battery. I really wish from the demo that I played with it, the battery wasn't increased, but it's not significantly increased. It was a 3,200 milliamp hour cell that was in the demo unit. I don't know if that's finalized hardware, but it seems like that's what we're going to see. But the other thing too is, so not only do we have an all-metal phone with a removable battery, sort of like the original Galaxy S Captivate on AT&T, we also still have the IR blaster. So one of those few features, again, not a super popular feature, but for people who used that, that was an extremely, like they really use it. Like people who are fans of that feature are passionately fans of that feature. So a lot of those things I feel like LG could be making bigger deals about. But instead, it's like LG is limping into this sort of with, even talking with LG PR, they are outright saying, oh, well, we know this isn't going to be a big seller. Like, you idiots, this is the phone which will set the standard for what LG design should be. This phone is this much better, significantly better than the G5, and could be the launching point for your future devices. But instead, you're sort of limping into this woe is me Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh kind of conversation about everything. Instead, maybe be a little excited about it and try and deliver some of the advertising. Like if you watch an LG commercial for Western audiences, they're terrible. But if you watch some of the promo videos that they put out for Korea, they're phenomenal. Like in showing off what this phone can do and how this phone is different. Bring some of that conversation over to Western audiences, and I feel you will have a better conversation. You will have more mind share with Western people. You can maybe change a few minds from jumping on Samsung while right now Note 7s are exploding. Like, this is an amazing opportunity that you're squandering.
No, I definitely agree. Quick one here. MT says, recently bought the S7. I didn't like the camera. What phone did you have before and why didn't you like the camera? Please state. I just wanted to find that out. Now, this is one I wanted to ask you guys. iMikeTech says iPhone has a better camera app.
I completely disagree.
Okay.
No, here's what I'll give Apple. No, I mean, like, if I'm being completely fair, I think Apple still delivers the most consistent image processing across any phone that I've ever used. So it hasn't mattered that we've been changing image sensor sizes or we'll be moving to dual cameras. I have a very clear expectation of what an iPhone camera will deliver. That's not to say that I like the app. I actually think the app is terrible. I mean, think about things like aspect ratio. Yeah. I have a separate mode to shoot a square photo, but in an age where iPhones have widescreen displays, I can't shoot 16:9. You won't automatically crop for that? A photo that would actually fill the whole frame of the screen? Are you mad? Are you kidding me? That is the most restrictive, like I'm going to say the word retarded in the clinical sense is that it retards progress. That is how bad
hold on,
and how rudimentary the iPhone camera app is.
Hold on, explain that again.
I have to leave the camera app to change settings like the video resolution or the frame rate.
Oh,
are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, that is the worst. To go to 4K video.
Go to 4K, yeah.
Oh my god, I lost my mind when I did the review.
So here's what I'll give the iPhone. I really feel like it's the best, the most consistent, not the best. It's the most consistent for image processing. I think it has one of the best HDR modes. I really do feel that Apple does one of the better jobs of reining in highlights when you're shooting HDR. And I think it has one of the sort of class-leading examples of slow motion. It's the iPhone and the Nexus 6P, I think, really bring phenomenal slow motion video to the table. But for everything else, the rest of the app I think is pants on head stupid. And I think Samsung and LG and a number of other companies, like I think still photos from like the Huawei P9, absolutely wreck still photos from the iPhone. So those types of things, I think the rest of the industry has moved on. So I'm hoping that we'll see this iPhone 7 camera hardware catch up. I have very little expectation that the camera software will improve to any significant degree.
Nope.
Nope. So let's move on. We've talked to LG. Some quick notes. The Galaxy Note 7 has now officially hit a recall. Yes, even though Samsung had stated last week, I think the FAA or
CPSA or something
CPA,
like
yeah,
that.
basically it said, look, shut it down and swap it out or whatever you need to do, but do not power up on a Galaxy Note 7. I know Best Buy is saying they have units now. Samsung says there will be a S, indicating that these are the refreshes with better batteries on there. A blue S, sorry, for the Galaxy. So basically, that's how you can indicate that this is a different batch of devices altogether. We'll have to see what Samsung does for its marketing coming back for this device.
It's an opportunity for Samsung to rise to the occasion. You know, if they can sell a good conversation with their customers, this could be better for them in the long run. But it all depends on that initial consumer-facing response once they feel that they have the situation handled, and that's every opportunity for a company like Samsung to falter.
Yeah.
Well,
you're going to say something.
But I still think this is probably one of the bigger uselessness of the week, in that Samsung couldn't really seem to communicate correctly on exactly what was going on. You know, it came out that they were going to do an exchange program earlier in the week or / last week. Then we find out that CPSC is saying they haven't gone through the correct channels. Then we're finding out now that, yes, you're getting new devices, but the question is, the CPSC hasn't really, if they haven't gone through the whole process for the CPSC of vetting these new devices, which I'm not sure if they haven't been communicated as such, then are these new devices actually good for a recall?
See, I think
there's a lot of communication issue out there that I think Samsung really could have gotten in front of. And it just makes this a little bit of a.
See, I won't put it in the whole uselessness because I think Samsung, I mean, to their own point is that not every device, there's a certain number of devices that you can, but they're giving everyone the opportunity to switch out. CPSC,
like I said last week, I totally believe that Samsung knows exactly what the issue is, and
but I think the CPSC wants them to do a full recall. That's all. For you to go to CPSC, you're doing a full recall. It's not which is why Samsung didn't want to do a full recall, because stating a full recall is different from saying we are recalling, but you can swap out if you want to. Those are two different things. When you say full recall, that's all hell. Like GM this week just recalled 4.3 million cars. That's a whole different thing on your finances, right? So I think that was what they were trying to figure out. And then there were two more stories of explosions, one in a car. Sorry.
That car one, I'm a little bit of...
there's one in a car, and then also Qantas said people should turn off the iPhones, the Note 7s, or at least not bring it onto a flight. So those things populated the news, and that's where they had to go through this process. But again, it's to that point of they need to just change the narrative with batches coming back, whether it's through ads, through spokespeople, through even reviewers, things like that, where the people who destroy phones for a living, send it out to them to blow one up, like test it out, whatever it will blow. I mean, stuff like that, where you can now change the narrative from this, so people can say, okay,
send one to me, I'll drop it within 2 days. Just so you know, I'll do that.
We all know you did that. All right. So speaking of Samsung is looking to switch from Qualcomm altogether come 2018.
Yeah, this one surprised me.
Yeah. It was quite interesting to hear. I mean, sources are they're looking at either AMD or NVIDIA to actually get chipsets for their devices and drop Qualcomm altogether. I mean, I don't know. I know AMD sold their ARM unit to Qualcomm way back.
Well, now, in this, it's not necessarily the full chipset CPU that they're looking to move away from. It's the GPU. They want to get away from what Qualcomm's doing there, which sort of lines up with some of the rumors we've been hearing about Samsung trying to move to 4K displays. That could be indicative of Qualcomm's position right now in being able to handle higher and higher resolution screens. I know right now Qualcomm seems to be most successful. Like I'm playing with some of those Huawei Novas, and the 625 chipset in that Nova is a snappy little bugger, which is surprising, but it maxes out at a 1080p display resolution. It can shoot UHD video, but it can't display it.
No. You can no 625 can display 2K. The Alcatel has
I
a
don't
620.
think it can. I think the 625 tops out at 1080p, at least from the Qualcomm white paper that I read.
No, the
I could be
Alcatel
wrong,
Alcatel
but-
4S runs the 65. I could be.
No,
Let me
no.
just.
The 4S uses the 652.
Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind then. Correct.
Yeah. So remember, they did that weird rebranding where the
Sorry.
618 and 620 became the 650 and 652. That's using the 28 nanometer fabrication process. When you move to the 625, that's the first mid-range that uses the 14 nanometer fabrication process. But while it's actually better for power management and it can shoot 4K video, I don't believe it can display higher than 1080p.
Okay.
Sorry, just a little deep into the weeds there. Anyway, regardless, that seems to be where Qualcomm's been most successful. I don't see where they've been making significant or substantial process moving up the chain. The 820 was a really nice lateral move from processors like last year's Exynos, but I don't really feel like performance was substantially better in many regards. Not like in real world, I'm actually using the phone day to day. I would be really hard pressed if you could put them in the same box. I think I would be really hard pressed to tell the difference from Note 5 performance versus Galaxy S7 performance.
Mm-hmm. Any more thoughts on this, guys?
I personally think it might be a play for VR. Simply put, if VR is going to be a bigger player in the future.
I agree. But that's also why I think Samsung is looking at a 4K screen.
Exactly.
What's the biggest criticism of the Gear experience is that even with a 2560 by 1440 display, when you use magnification, that image is still very pentile, grainy.
Sam.
Oh, I thought Ron was still saying stuff.
Oh, no, I was just going to interject, sorry.
No, I agree with you. I think they need a much stronger processor than they're using right now to push 4K, definitely. But they also need a much stronger gaming GPU chip in there if they're going to have games that people are actually going to be more engaging in VR. So I just think this is just a natural migration from the current state of mobile gaming to what they hope becomes a solid, a solid product in the near future.
Warren?
I guess, I think their play is mostly probably on the VR side of things. They'll probably get a better VR gaming experience. I'm telling you, everybody's trying to get that Oasis right now. Somebody's trying to get ahead on that. And,
You can tell somebody just finished reading Ready Player One.
I finished it like 3 weeks ago, man.
3 weeks ago. How do you like it?
Oh, I loved it. It was a great book. I'm listening.
I got someone at work reading it now, and they stopped by my desk to tell me how awesome it was. It's an amazing.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I did the audiobook instead because actually Will Wheaton narrates it.
Yeah, he does a good job.
And it does a really good job.
Whenever he narrates a book, I'm in. I am keyed in completely. Yeah. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Continue with.
But yeah, I understand them wanting to get a better GPU into it. It's going to bring better gaming performance. It's going to bring better VR performance. It's going to bring the ability to get higher resolution displays out of it. And if it's something that Qualcomm can't get right away, then I understand where you might want to look at AMD and NVIDIA that possibly can do that. And that might be a way for, especially NVIDIA, to get back into this sort of mobile space, which they've kind of dipped out of since, God, what is it, the Tegra 1?
Yeah, well,
it was on the Zune. That was the last only good one they ever put out.
No, but if AMD gets it, this is a huge steal for them. I mean, AMD has the console market, right? But if they get Samsung, those are numbers that they can push out there for AMD as a company.
No, they need some because
AMD doesn't have desktops. I mean, they had a little bump with the 480 this year just because NVIDIA messed up in terms of release cycles and stuff like that.
Oh God, yeah, they did.
Yeah, but even on the console market, I'm thinking AMD is trying to basically get into more devices because the console market, it might not have it for much longer. If you look at what NVIDIA is doing with its new chipsets on laptops, even That's
Yeah,
looking
on
very
laptops,
promising
yeah.
Well,
for
again,
eventually
you can
going into
already
consoles.
experience console quality gaming on an iPhone. So, I mean, there you go.
You know what? Go away. Go away.
Console quality gaming.
Oh
No, true.
boy.
But anyway, let's go to our last topic quickly. This one is going to be very brief. So it looks like the Microsoft Store, at least will stop sales of Lumia devices
They,
come
s- they
December.
sold anyway? They sold Lumia device? When the hell
Yeah.
they did that?
Now, just to add another caveat, I know this is not on the show list, but Microsoft will be having another Microsoft event come October. The rumor there is that they will not be announcing a Pro 5 or a Surface Book 2, but rather a line of all-in-one PC Surface, like,
Yeah.
desktops.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I mean, we'll see. We see how that
Why?
plays. But general thoughts on the end of Lumia and also the Surface desktop, Sam.
Um, the Lumia was dead as of a few years ago. So
Like 4 years ago. But anyways.
Yeah. So that to me is not news. Like, to me, what's worrisome is if you have a Lumia, you can go into to the Microsoft store to either get it fixed or replaced or whatnot. What does that mean for you? Does that mean you no longer have the ability to get a replacement for it?
Oh no, you will be. There's a stockpile.
Oh, okay. There's a stockpile that was never sold.
Yeah, you will get replacements.
Who bought one? Find them. Let me know.
Yeah. How about you, Juan? Any thoughts?
Well, I mean,
Well, I didn't give my thoughts on the all-in-one, but yeah, I'll do that later.
Okay. I mean, you can say it now if you want to
go
quickly.
ahead, Sam.
I think it's a good segue from the Surface, because the Surface is already an all-in-one once you take out that keyboard. So it is a good segue. Would it be a major device for Microsoft? I don't think so, but I think it goes in the whole the direction that Microsoft's trying to go. Yeah, it's a good reference to try to bring that all-in-one PC back into the vernacular, because Lenovo were doing a lot of things on this, and then all of a sudden they stopped because I don't think Microsoft had that support for it. But if finally they have, the support, the touch screens, an operating system that functions properly with an all-in-one PC.
Yeah,
then
and I think also it's also a good time to revisit it, because now you can put in a mobile version of a GTX 1080 rather than the full 1080 in there, and still get something that's really slick, thin, and some really solid performance off that, rather than, I know MSI showed off one at CES that had a full Titan X or 980 in there, and I was like, oh, this is great, this is a powerhouse, but it's also thick and heavy. It doesn't necessarily make sense. So I can see why you might want to do some references there, maybe around the family and around education, so to speak. They'll call it, that sense. Juan?
I mean, I completely agree with Sam's points, and I guess there's still a part of me that's holding out hope for some kind of Surface phone. As unlikely as it would be that.
Rumor is that's been moved to the fall of next year.
Oh, it's not coming.
I'm sort of more with Warren rationally, is that I find the prospect of one becoming less and less likely as every month goes by.
No, they're done in phones.
Not like to put it on Microsoft yet again, that you'd make us wait multiple years in between phone releases and then still not be able to deliver anything. I agree. I think it's increasingly less likely that they're going to put their resources there. Still, a boy can dream, because the most recent builds of Windows 10 on the Lumia 950 have actually been pretty good. This is now the operating system that I think can make it through the day. Through their full app discussion too. But the actual OS has become much better, and it's just a shame that it took sort of the fall of Nokia, all of these Lumia devices, which were really compelling during the Windows Phone 8.1 days, die this terrible, slow, lingering cancerous death, and then end up at this point where we're
called it 3 years ago.
We're not even really quite sure why they're having a press conference in October. That's the state Microsoft finds it.
Because that's what they do. They just have press conferences in October.
Well, no, but that's just it. Is like when they've been doing really well with Surface hardware. I mean, again, to see such disparity between Surface 4 and Surface Pro, and what they've been doing with a hardware division that came out of Nokia, which was making phenomenally compelling devices, and to see just to see how different those two divisions have functioned is really sad. And really, all of this conversation, I think, kind of delivers talking points where now I'm even more excited to see what a renewed Nokia might do with Android. I got to go play with Withings at IFA, and that's, Nokia went out and bought Withings, and then started, letting them, improving the resources for all these different devices that they're coming out with.
They got some pretty good stuff too,
And
especially
the new Steel HR looks phenomenal. And so now I'm excited. Like, if that's what they're going to let a little division like Withings do, I can't wait to see what they might do with the phone.
Cool. What's going to happen with Microsoft? We will get some all-in-one PCs that we'll all go hum-ha on, be amazed about it for a little bit, then forget that it exists about 2 weeks after the announcement. Truth be told, that's what's going to happen, because we're not excited for all-in-ones. And at the end of the day, personally, to most techies, all-in-one PCs are essentially like cancer. Like, no. It's just something you don't do.
Unless Microsoft has I'll give them one opportunity. If Microsoft can deliver on the type of Thunderbolt USB-C modularity that companies like Razer are starting to experiment with, then that could be something kind of interesting to start talking about. So you have like a Surface Book style solution where you've got an acceptable mobile powerful device, which then very quickly or very easily, it's the kind of modularity we've been talking about on the show for a while, but Thunderbolt actually gives us the opportunity to execute it really well. So if they can come up with something which, destroys the Mac Pro, for example, where you have this ability to kind of plug and play into different ports, and you can have different graphics cards, and you can put together exactly the kind of powerhouse or mobile solution that you want, I'll be more excited to talk about that. If it's basically iMac, then Microsoft is dead.
I mean, it's true. I think
it's gonna be an iMac.
Yeah, I'm saying, I think you're more likely to be correct, Warren. But I still, with how good the reception has been for the Surface Book and for the Surface 4.
I think it's going to be a blend of the two. I think, even though the rumor generally is like it might be an all-in-one type Surface, we don't know. I think this is Microsoft's desktop reference. I think, in a sense, whether it be an all-in-one or a desktop of a kind, because the PC market, even though we've heard declines, is still growing in its own minuscule way, and them bringing something to that market and say, okay, this is what you guys should try and build all your devices around. Make it better. We don't care. I mean, it's taken 3 years for companies to finally, not 3 years, but it's finally this year that we've seen companies develop a Surface Pro device that is either equal or better, be it Asus, Acer, all these different companies, and finally Lenovo with the Yoga Book. And things like that. So,
well, the processors and stuff finally came to that point that that could be processors, the operating system, everything else finally came to the point where that could be done that way.
But it's not even just that. It's just forget that design. Forget everything else. Just design alone. It's finally come to that point where they're now saying, okay, look, because Microsoft is also sharing technology with them. I mean, all of them have the same keyboard attachments like the Surface Pro 4. Microsoft's like, clearly you can have it. We want you to build it. So if they're doing the same thing here, I'm fine with that, because at least it says these guys can do better. We know that they can, but sometimes they get lost. Dell built an awesome looking laptop with the Adamo, and then they threw that away. And finally, they've come back with the new XPS. But it took, see how long it took them to do that. So.
Well, maybe Microsoft will come up with a gaming PC and it'll surprise us or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything.
PC, which would be hilarious if they did that. And I was like, wait a minute, don't you already have a gaming PC? Oh, that'd be hilarious if they bust out and say, hey, here's our Surface gaming PC. Wait a minute.
It would be very
it'd be interesting, but it's sad to see where their mobile side of things have gone, and it's just basically the biggest write-off they could ever have done. And only Microsoft can pull something like that. But hopefully Nokia, once they get with Android, I think they're going to really come back into the game, even though I think technically they won't directly make the device. They're kind of licensing their name, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have some influence on what goes.
No, I think
No,
they are.
The initial commentary was obviously it's not going to be manufactured in Finland, but that they will be.
They'll be involved with it.
Yeah.
They'll be designing the phone. It will be a Nokia phone. It won't be like the Fox.
Somebody else will just make it for them.
Okay, so I mean, if that's the case and they can get one with Android on it, I'm telling you, like the HTCs, the LGs, and the Motorola's of the world should look out, because they can easily swap that spot and then take that number 3 and take it by storm. Because as good as those names, yeah, exactly. As good as those phones are, they don't have the international name that Nokia has. Nokia's name stands right next to Samsung and Apple and the rest of them in the end of the day because of that history. So only Microsoft can F that up. But.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. We've got to that point of the show where we ask what you have done last week and what we can expect from different channels moving forward. So we'll start off with Mr. Juan Bagnell. Not you, Warren. Juan, tell us.
Ooh, wow.
He pronounced it.
Up here. No, so we did tons of videos for IFA. So there's still a lot of commentary that you guys can check out from there. I did 5 different videos on the LG V20, just a couple quick comparisons, camera tour, audio tour. You can see that hands-on. Jaime was responsible for covering the iPhone 7, so he's got his sort of. Well, obviously, we weren't in San Francisco because we were still coming back to Germany, but you can at least see his thoughts on the Apple release. And then for this next week, I'm gonna be spending a little time with some fitness gear. I got the new Misfits. I got a new pair of Aftershocks bone conduction headphones. And then I'm also going to be wrapping up some reviews on the new Huawei Novas, some new mid-rangers that I think are facing some tough competition, even from their own Honor brand. I think these phones are going to face some really tough challenges once they make it to market. And I'm also doing a rebuttal on the Galaxy S7 Active. A couple of us went out to Water Park to torture test the S7 Active and got some of it on video, so we'll be sharing that.
Cool. How about you, Mr. Warren Bowman?
Yeah. Oh, am I up? I'm up. Oh, I am up. Okay. For me, I think on the channel right now we have we did a couple of everything you need to know videos on the PlayStation 4 Pro, sort of explaining what you get with that. We did some stuff with the iPhone 7 as well too, very similar video in that style as well. And next week I got some interesting stuff coming up, some surprises.
Okay, some surprises. All right.
I don't know if they're a surprise to you. I'm just going to say surprises.
All right. How about you, Sam? Anything we can
long list of things I'm backlogged on, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, generally on our end, we have some stuff from PAX Prime. Basically, Razer's new Ornata mechanical membrane keyboard, the new Razer Blade, the one that Juan has been updated with a GTX 1060. And then also we did a gaming monitor called the Pixio, which actually is pretty good. It's well priced, and performance of it is something I think every gamer should check out. It's got an IPS display, so check out that video. Roundups on the iPhone 7 I did with Juan, as well as also the PS4, a couple of PS4 videos. And next week, I know I'm late on this. My best tech under 50 for the month of August / beginning of September, which is what's going to be called. We'll drop that next week, probably on Monday. And then we have a few smartphones. I can't tell you what they are, but the reviews will be up next week as well. So stay tuned and pay attention.
Sweet smartphone. I like that.
On that note, guys, I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for joining. It's been fun. I want to thank Mr. Juan Bagnell at Pocket Now.
Oh, wait a minute. What are we going to do for next week?
Why?
Isn't Hangout shutting down on the 15th?
Oh, snap.
we'll figure that off channel.
Yeah, we will.
We might want to let people know, just in case we're figuring. We still let them know we're trying to figure something out.
Scheduling should still work.
Yeah, the scheduling should still work.
Hangouts is going to shut down, but we won't really know until
we don't clearly know. Yeah. So
yeah, just check the channel on YouTube because the output is on YouTube anyway, and I definitely think whatever Google decides, the output will still be on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll find a way at least to get a show up, even if maybe next week's show might not be live.
Live, yeah,
we'll
exactly.
Just record something and get it up. And
so I think the 12th of September is the turnaround date. So by the 13th or 14th, we'll let you guys know. Just follow us on Twitter, and we'll give you guys updates, letting you know, okay, hey, this will happen. It may not be live. It may be live. We're still trying to figure out things, stuff like that, or it might still be the same. So we don't know till then. I mean, I can't give you an answer anyway. But again, like I said, thank you very much. Check out Mr. Juan Bagnell on Pocket Now. That's where all his Pocket Now videos are, as well as also follow him on Twitter. It is Some Gadget Guy. That is his Twitter handle. And then Mr. Warren Bowman from BW1.com. That is his YouTube handle, as well as his Twitter handle. Follow him there. Check out his videos, and also leave comments on them, whatever comments you like. And Mr. Black Iron _ Mad Sam. You can follow him on Twitter, part of the Booredatwork Network, with that warm, soft smile. Ooh. And then moving on to me, Booredatwork. It's Booredatwork on Twitter as well as YouTube. Thank you very much, guys, and always enjoy your entertainment.